The Cam Girl Stress Test. Hi, my name is Luke Vu, PhD, clinical psychologist, mental health expert, helping young men overcome digital addiction, depression, and anxiety. In the previous episode, we discussed the psychological reasons why you might be susceptible to the emotional aspects of a webcam model. With that in mind, this episode is a how-to guide on how to reflect and keep grounded if you find yourself using camgirl services more than you would like to. Quick disclaimer, I'm not your psych, this isn't treatment, and if you need a psych, you should find a registered, qualified psych in your area. We live most of our lives on autopilot. We consolidate our beliefs, routines, and often take for granted why we do the things we do. Most importantly, we tend to stop examining if we should stop doing the things that we normally do. It's often because we have some unchallenged thoughts and beliefs that perpetuate our maladaptive cycles. Today, I share some of the most common reflection prompts or concept attacks that help many of my patients pause, reflect, and change some of their untested but tightly held beliefs. Essentially, this is some of the homework I would give patients to induce healthy psychological change. It's important to note that the questions themselves aren't magical. You have to be willing to invest time and deeply reflect. It also helps if you feel ambivalent or ready to think about change. This exercise is most effective when you clear your mind of distractions, so get away from the screens, go for a hike, whatever you need to do. Then prepare yourself to engage in deep thought. Naturally, these reflective moments can occur when we experience the passing of a loved one or some other significant life event. You know what that feels like. So keep that in mind as we try to enter that state again at will. By the way, if you want to get the most out of this, grab a pen and paper and write down your thoughts as you think about the prompts. In the context of regaining control over your camgirl habits, I found that the following themes are the most helpful with my patients. So here we go. Sex. Sometimes we're so preoccupied with maximizing our engagement with sex via camgirl relationships, pornography, pursuing sexual mates, DMing on Instagram, propositioning, or even role-playing sexual characters. Sometimes it's critical to stop and ask yourself, why is sex so important to me? How much should sex occupy my life? Why should it dominate my life? How would my life be different if my mind wasn't always preoccupied with sex? Fantasy. Other times we've already bought into the fairy tale, and our decisions are based on this conclusion. Sometimes we don't think beyond the fairy tale, and here are some questions that might shake that belief. What would you do after you get your fairy tale wish? You get the girl, do you move to be with her? Would you work there? Plan to marry her? Separate from your current partner? What would she do? Would she continue this line of work, even if you got together? Do you even know how much she's actually making? Does she need or want to be rescued? Why are you choosing this relationship over your current partner? What is the real-life cost of this fairy tale? Divorce, co-parenting, division of assets, shared custody, social exclusion by your family? Relationship. When we're in too deep and we've bought into this fantasy, we lose sight of some of the basics of what it means to be in a relationship. Is this a real relationship? Are your needs met? Is it symmetrical, reciprocal, or are you always trying to court and impress her? If you didn't have any money and stopped tipping, would she still love you? Would she provide her affection when you needed it but couldn't afford it? Would she help you move, nurse you if you're unwell, help raise your children? Does she even really want to? And are you interdependent? Can you ask for help? Can you rely on her? Costs. Ultimately, there's a trade-off between camgirl relationships and other important life goals. There might be a part of you that thinks it's free and it's harmless, but that's worth examining. Is this relationship costing you? How much over what period of time? If you became her sole provider, how much would it cost you then? Is it preventing you from developing meaningful real-life relationships? Is it preventing her from developing meaningful real-life relationships as well? The girl. You might be in love with her. You might have strong emotions when you interact with her. Ultimately, you're in love with an avatar of her that she chooses to reveal to her patrons and clients. Do you really know her? Does she really know you? Are you filling in the blanks in the relationship? Is she perfect because you made working assumptions? How do you know if you're being taken advantage of? Feelings. When you start examining and realizing that it's a facade of a relationship, ask yourself, why do you buy into this fantasy? Are you addicted to the feeling of being in love? Are you in love with the feeling of being in love? Would this cam girl be replaced by another cam girl? How replaceable are you in this relationship? The future. Even when we reflect on these areas, sometimes we just want to delay confrontation of difficult decisions. What would need to change before you would choose to stop? What would be a deal breaker for you? How long can you keep doing this for? 5 years? And then what would you hope for? Are you accepting this virtual relationship because you feel unable to nurture or repair ones in your real life? These prompts aren't exhaustive, but they share the theme of confronting or justifying some tightly held and unexamined beliefs. I hope you found this useful. Don't forget to hit subscribe. I'm Luke Vu. Be kind, be you. Catch you next time.